welcome everyone. Welcome to the Prince George's Soil Conservation District, everyone, to our November open mic night. I'm Kim Rush Lynch. I manage the Urban Ag Conservation Program here at the Soil Conservation District. For those who I have not met, Jason, can you introduce yourself?
Jason, I'm the conservation planner here for the Urban Ag Office, or the alongside Kim.
And then Kayla, mind introducing yourself?
My name is Kayla. I work with Prince George's Soil Conservation District. I'm the administrator in the administration area.
So she's team admin, which is awesome, and we really appreciate her help tonight. So as you know, tonight's workshop is on rainwater harvest and food safety, and we're very excited to have Dr. Emmie Woerner with us tonight. She's brand new, used to that, so everyone use Dr. Emmie as much as they can this evening. When she comes up, she'll tell you a little bit more about her background and her dissertation and the work that she's been doing, along with Professor Rachel Goldstein, who is on tonight. So we're going to start with a short round of introductions in a little bit. Well, here, let me just move along for the schedule real quick, and then, this isn't going to work. Thanks, Jason. Did it lock up again? There we go. All right, agenda for tonight. So after we do some housekeeping and introductions, we're going to hear from Colleen Kiefer with USDA NRCS. Welcome back, Colleen and Naya. We're so excited to have our partners back in the office. And then we're going to talk with Dr. Emmie. We'll have some questions and discussion period. And then we're going to hear from Ms. Julie Wolf, who has an exciting opportunity from the county that's been rebranded, reframed, new. I'm not sure. We'll let her talk about it. And then we'll have some time for announcements. Just some quick housekeeping. If you're on Zoom, just go ahead and stay mute, but feel free to drop any questions that you might have into the chat box. There will be time to come off mute. We're going to do introductions shortly, and you'll have the opportunity to practice that. I already talked about where the bathrooms are. Feel free to get that monstrosity back there. That is our water fountain. So feel free. It produces hot water, cold water. Help yourself to any refreshments in the bathrooms. We're pretty casual here. If you need anything, just grab myself, Kayla, or Jason. And the other thing I wanted to mention is at the end, we're going to be doing some cleanup. When we're done cleaning up, we might dim those lights just as a sign that, Jason, Kayla, and I need to go home. We have to get back. So I know y'all get excited, but you can, go in the parking lot or the next open mic night. Come during the networking time. All right, so just wanted to give folks our 2026 schedule so far. March 10th, we have our grant manager, actually, through the National Association of Conservation Districts, has a background in ag resources and economics, and she's going to talk about how that plays in with conservation practices. In April, Isaac Bama with Asawana Farms is going to talk about some of his work. We'll go out to the Urban Farm Incubator. Same thing with May. We have a lot of urban farmers at the Urban Farm Incubator excited to talk about their work. We have Jasmine Bestial Taylor with Sun Goddess Farms. And then on June 16th, we're actually going to see two farms. They're neighbors. So we're going to see Dr. Samuel, whom she did the soil drink at our last open mic night, and also Tasha Dickerson. So we're going to talk about their operation. And then in September, we're going to go to Fat Cardinal Farm, and they're going to speak about how they've leveraged county, state, and federal financial assistance programs. And then we'll hear from our partners about their programs. But you don't have to worry about that until September. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so folks can see each other. Okay, great. All right, so we're gonna just quickly go around. If you can just say your name and your farm or what you're farming, and then we'll get started.
How you guys doing? I'm Ross D. A trainee at Alpha Farms.
All right.
Growing everything, but primarily everything from West Africa. His big thing is food as medicine and harvesting various different things in Cameroon for medicinal properties. So excited to be here.
Welcome.
Sorry, as I was chewing. Good evening, everyone. My name is Adrienne Stay. I'm from Orabella Farms here in Upper Marlboro, primarily growing herbs and seasonal vegetables.
Hi, everyone. My name is Darren Strother. I'm with Chateau Coco, right down the street in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And right now I harvest honey, have bees in my yard. I also grow and ground and grow seeds.
Hi, everyone. I'm Pride with the University of Maryland. I am the local food entrepreneurial specialist. So I am responsible for everything that has to do with the business of agriculture. Yeah, so if you have any problem there, you just get to me. So I work mostly with rural farmers and beginner farmers. So I try to get them set when it comes to like market opportunities, when it comes to like running their day-to-day business to optimize their activity to be profitable. So when you think about money, yeah, just think about Pride.
You like it?
Yeah.
Tracy, Alacrity Micro Urban Farm. I have 13 raised beds. I mostly support other urban farmers. And my farm is mostly for learning and experimentation. I am more involved in policy and trying to help other farmers more than I am farming and being a farmer, but I do have an urban farm.
And Tracy is one of our board of supervisors, so if you have suggestions.
Oh, you just trying to slide that.
A lot of different committees and boards and a lot.
But you know, when in Rome, you're.
When in Rome, yes, so yeah,
Thank you,
that's,
Tracy.
yes, I am also part of the Soil Conservation District Board and a few other committees. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dee. I am here to learn about setting up a rain barrel at my home. So I'm just coming for that information if that's something that's available.
That's no problem.
All right, Raven. I'm glad you found this, by the way.
Yay, thank you for whoever was helping me. My name is Raven. I have a micro farm in my backyard. And I'm also, it's primarily for us to eat, vegetables, and we also have, what we call an herbal pharmacy back there. And I also do like online education and like agritourism in my backyard. Just basically, I learned some things, so I'm sharing some things. And I'm very interested in harvesting rainwater, which is why I'm here today. Thank you.
I am Kathy and I'm in Clinton, Maryland. My farm name is not a typical farm name. It's Kathy's Delicious Cakes, which was my original business. So, I will be converting that into Daisy's Sunshine Farm. Hopefully by January. And, I have chickens, I have eggs. I'm hoping to have honey next year because I have bees. And then I have the vegetables.
Hi, I'm Jarita and I'm a beginning farmer. I don't have a farm yet, but I farm in a part of Ujima Cooperative Urban Farming Alliance. And we are out in Taman Field and we also acquired a property off the road, which is actually more urban farm. So right now don't have a lot of watering system. We have to fill up things and bring it down into the field. But there is a farm with a metal roof, and I'm thinking IBCs or something. So I'm here to learn and and get to know and network.
Excellent. Two things, it's Anita's birthday today. Anita, happy birthday. So, yeah, we'll catch up with you.
I was a good
I'm Will. I work on private farm in Upper Marlboro, owned by the Safe Rainwater Foundation. And I mainly work in our tree nursery, grow native trees, about 10 to 20,000 a year. We work to get them planted on agricultural property throughout the state by partnering with local foresters and RCS staff. So trying to get plugged in all you awesome people.
They have an awesome CSA too.
Yeah, all of the vegetables, we do vegetables, livestock, and a nursery, but I am here in the nursery at this point.
Hannah slash Heather.
The joke is that everyone calls me Heather, but my name is Hannah. I'm Hannah. I'm starting a 1/4 acre vegetable farm down in Upper/Croom on my mom's land. And the first year I'll be donating my produce to the College Park Food Bank, and I'd like in the future maybe figure out a way to break even with investment in the farm to keep doing something like that. And I'm definitely setting up rainwater. Got a pad, a cement pad for a cistern, so I just need to know what to put on the cement pad.
And I hear you're looking for volunteers right now too.
A little bit of volunteer help would be really helpful with the neat mulch system, and I'm putting that in by hand. So I've gone through 1.5 dump trucks of compost myself so far, and I'm a little tired. If anyone wants to get some free labor in.
Hi, I'm Julie Wolf with the Georges County Department of Environment. Most of you have heard from me for the past year and a couple months. Here tonight to talk both about the rain check rebate program and about our USDA grant, which we've been fighting to get back and seems imminently back. It's now rebranded as the Advancing Markets for Producers Grant, and I'll talk to you at the end. And I'm a home gardener.
So I'm Liz Robinson. My farm is the Garden International. We grow gourmet and functional mushrooms in a warehouse in Beltsville. And then we grow vegetables and herbs and soon to be mushrooms on our farm in Clinton as well. And also I have on our nonprofit, we have a 39-acre property in Swanson Road that we're gonna be subleasing to farmers with a few years of experience, to increase land access.
Just went down there, looked at it.
Oh, did you?
You guys put out new barns?
Yes. Aren't they beautiful?
Yes.
So yeah, talk to me after if you want.
Applications are open now.
Yeah, the
I know.
applications are over now, yeah.
I think we sent it on the Google group, but yeah. Perfect.
Hi, everybody. My name's Martin McCaskill. Folks call me Mac or Farmer Mac. I wear a couple hats also, none as prestigious as Tracy's, but, I'm the beginning farmers training coordinator at Eco City Farms. And I am also here in my capacity as operator of Ad Astra Farms, which is about 10 minutes from here in Upper Marlboro. I grow vegetables, small fruits, and culinary herbs. I just want to say that like my first farm site used harvested rainwater, and that's something that I really want to get back to the extent possible. So as not to draw so much on groundwater resources, so I'm really excited to hear everything that Dr. Henry has to say. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ryan. I'm a swim conservationist for NRCS.
I'm Helen Kiefer. I'm the district conservationist for NRCS. Good to see everybody.
And I'm Emmie Woerner, I'm your speaker tonight.
Doctor who?
Never actually said it, Dr. Woerner.
Jason, do you mind calling out people online to see if they want to introduce themselves?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm just go with my first word I see, Shirley. If you're there.
Did you say Shirley?
You mind introducing yourself?
Shirley, do you mind?
Yes, sir. Oh, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Shirley. I live in Laurel, and I have an urban farm, Circle Bark Botanicals and Nursery. So it is a small nursery as well as growing herbs and seasonal vegetables. Thank you.
Next we have Renee. Introduce yourself.
Hello, family. I'm sorry I'm not there with you guys. My name is Renee. I am the owner and operator of Healthy Hands of Harvest here in Upper Marlboro. I have 2 sites and locations. I steward medicinal, culinary, and root vegetables. I am a grower of all seasons, all year round, and I'm also the small farm agent for UMES. That is a level of training and assistance to farmers that I get to leverage what's happening over on the shore. So that's it. Next.
Next I see Ron. You want to introduce yourself?
Is that Ron or Rob? Probably Rob, right? Is that?
Sorry, I can't.
No, no worries, no worries, absolutely no worries. Hey, nice to meet you all. I'm Rob Schnabel. I work with Chesapeake Bay Foundation. I work with farmers throughout the state. Really passionate about regenerative agriculture systems and help lead something called the Maryland Grazers Network for pasture-based operations. And I'm excited for tonight's talk because I really, anytime there's a new practice, say rainwater harvesting, adding something to the federal cost share program or state cost share program where it makes sense. Because right now does not receive cost share funding. But I'm looking forward to hearing tonight's talk, and I'll advocate for it if we as a team think it makes sense. And I'm zooming in from Annapolis, and I want to give a quick shout out to Colleen and Anaya. Just we missed you all. We miss our federal workers, so thank you for it, and it's wonderful to see you back.
Thank you.
Next I see Shun Wei. Hope I pronounced that correctly. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Xuan Wei. I'm the Urban Farm and Agribusiness Extension Specialist from the University of Maryland Extension. Sorry, I cannot join on site, but I see my colleague Pride is there. So I'm happy to learn something about the rain harvest.
Thanks for coming on, Juan.
Yeah.
Next I see Rachel. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name's Rachel Goldstein. I'm an assistant professor at the School of Public Health at the University of Maryland. Emmie is my wonderful student. I direct the Water Quality Outreach and Wellness Lab, or we call it the WOW Lab. So we do lots of great work in the WOW Lab, looking at lots of different types of water and the types of bacteria that can be in water, including harvested rainwater. So I'm excited to see Emmie's presentation tonight. Nice to see you all.
Rachel, thank you for giving us Emmie tonight, Dr. Emmie.
I have one bio in the chat. Stephanie Young says she can't come off mute, but she says she's from Blue Bourbon Farm. She grows veggies and cut flowers in Bourbon Heights. And then next, I would have Cam. You want to introduce yourself?
Cam, are you able to hear us?
All right, next person I see is Fatima or Fatima. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. It's Fatima Hassan with Ujama Cooperative Farming Alliance. And Jarita mentioned too what some of the things we're doing. I'm an aspiring farmer, but we are growing at Taman Field, and we have an opportunity to grow at an urban farm in Camp Springs. So we also have an analog forestry site at Taman, and we have a number of trees and shrubs and things there. So glad to be with you all. I do have a conflict, but I'll stay as long as I can.
Thank you. All right, next we have Melanie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melanie Wright of Agape Farm in Bowie, Maryland, where I am growing food and cut flowers, and I'm excited to be here. I do have a rain barrel on site that I am currently not using because of the conflicting information that I've read online, so I'm definitely interested to get all of the information this evening.
Thank you. Next I see Farmer C. If you want to introduce yourself to everybody. All right, and then I see Heather. I hope it's not that.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Heather Wright from Right Way Vines Farmette. I have chickens, ducks, quails, and turkeys, so I sell fresh eggs, culinary herbs, as well as seasonal vegetables. And I'm in Prince George's County, Accokeek. Good evening, and thanks, Kim. I have one rain barrel on site, and this week they are here to do my well. So thanks, Kim, for all your help with that.
Excellent news.
And then Cam, I see you're coming off mute. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Cam. I am a backyard gardener. I primarily do I grow for my family, doing vegetables and herbs. I am here to learn about water harvesting. So I'm tired of carrying water back and forth. Thanks.
And last, but not least, Linda, if you want to introduce yourself to everybody.
Good afternoon, everyone. Linda Griffith. I am a beginner gardener. I've grown vegetables for my family and friends. Tomatoes, of course, jalapeno, red, banana peppers, green and red peppers. I've grown to potatoes, squash, zucchini. My husband is helping me out here, some herbs. And I'm here to learn more about especially the rainwater. Thank you.
All right, that's everybody online. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for sharing your stories. Hopefully you'll have an opportunity to network. We really appreciate you all and everything you're doing. Giving a talk on Thursday about how you all are food security heroes, our climate resiliency heroes. So thank you for all the work that you do. I guess without further ado, we're going to get to the main, we're going to call up Colleen first with USDA NRCS. Again, welcome back NRCS. We're excited to have you back in the office. We've missed you. And so Colleen's going to give a few updates about NRCS programs for this year.
Okay, I will take very little time because I know no one wants to hear me talk. We are back. We've been back 3 days. Bear with us. We did make lists before we left, but we're trying to catch up. For those of you who are getting CSP payments, if you have turned in everything that you need for the certification to whoever your conservation planner is, you are good to go. But we have 100 payments we're trying to process. It's going to take us a couple days, but you can expect to see those payments in your box, in the e-signing stuff in your email from John. If you've turned everything in. If you haven't turned everything in, make sure to get in touch with your conservation planner and get that finished so we can get you paid. We do have what I believe is the official national application deadline for this year. Being told that it's January 15th. That does not necessarily mean that there will be additional signups after that, but if I were you and there is something that you want, I would get in touch with your conservation planner or get in touch with myself and Kim if you don't have a conservation planner, and make sure that we get you an application in for whatever you're trying to look for this year, because that's possible that could be the only sign up. So just assume it is, but it might not be. I think that's kind of it for right now, unless people have specific questions. Again, like also with equip stuff, if they have your certification, I mean, feel free to check in with me, but again, it's gonna take me a couple days. We got a lot of payments, so I'm sure that's the most important thing to everybody, but we are working on them. So just give me a poke if you are concerned about getting your payment. So I think that's all I got. If anyone has any questions. Great. Money.
For folks online, I don't know why I was being a little blurry, so bear with us. Hopefully the presentation won't be blurry, but we'll double check that. But without further ado, let's talk about rainwater harvest and food safety with Dr. Woerner. And this works to move slides? Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and get those going for you. Well, first off, thank you all for having me. This is really a wonderful opportunity to talk about all the work that I've done as part of Dr. Goldstein, who's online, as part of her group. And we always love hearing what you guys care the most about so that we know that our work is going in the right direction. So if you have any suggestions or comments for us, we would love to hear them. But I'm hoping I can tackle a lot of what I've heard. Seems like not only building the structure, but maybe like the safety of the water. Is there anything that I'm missing that you all would like me to touch on? I have a lot to share.
Filtration.
Filtration, okay. We'll talk about safety and treatment options.
Portable structures.
Portable structures,
Yeah.
okay. I can try to touch on that. Ours were stationary, but that's definitely something that I can bring back to my lab and hopefully we can figure out. There was a handout at the front that has some information for you all. There is also an extension fact sheet in the works. We are very close to publishing that, and so I'm hoping to get that to you all as when it actually is published. Is that too dark for folks, or are we okay with
That's
that?
comfortable.
Okay.
I like it. Can we put it in presentation view so it's
Yeah.
bigger too?
Tricky.
She's like, wait a minute, I need like that.
Because online we're recording, then they throw in the
Okay,
dark.
no worries.
Is that?
It's all right.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured out that glitch yet, so if anyone knows the answer to that, is it not? No, I was pointing at the wall, but I need to be pointing at the computer. Okay, did you decide you want it all the way down or like this?
Down.
Easier to see.
Yeah, it's easier.
Sorry, we don't have a real good zooming situation. Okay. Thank you. If you all have any questions at any point, please stop me. At some point, I will probably get tired of hearing myself speak, so I'd love to hear you all speak. So what I'm going to go over today is a little bit of background on harvested rainwater, the possible food safety concerns we have with actually using that water to irrigate. Then we're going to go into a research update. I will share what I've learned over the last 4 years that I've been working on this. We have a few recommendations now from our team because we wrapped up our big study that we were doing. And then just go over rainwater harvesting on an urban farm, wrap it all up, see what that actually would look like. So based on your introductions, it seems like you already are experts on why to do this, why rainwater harvesting and what it actually means. But rainwater harvesting is basically the process of collecting and storing rainwater. At its very foundation, it is a structure that you can capture water on. You're directing it into a tank. It could be anything from a rain barrel, a reused barrel of some sort, or I think someone might have mentioned an IVC tote. Is that yeah, so an intermediate bulk container. Basically somewhere to hold that water until it's needed. So a bunch of the good reasons to do it is we're hopefully gonna not draw on our drinking water sources, not draw on our groundwater sources, like you mentioned, and then hopefully gain more water for irrigation. Does anybody know any concerns you might have with actually using this water to irrigate? Yeah.
Like if maybe it picks up chemicals or something from whatever it ran off of into our chunks.
Yes, yes, okay. You all already know, so we are concerned about what's on the collection surface. So it could be chemical or a different like heavy metal contaminant that could be on that surface and then bird poop. So we have things, this is not a closed system. Anything that hits that surface could get into our water. And what we're concerned about is this pathway from, it's going from the birds. There's bacteria that like to live in the guts of animals. Those things can get on our produce here. And then if we're eating that produce, especially if it's something that's consumed raw, so like lettuce, if we're eating that, we do not want to get sick because it had harmful bacteria on it. Oops, point at the computer. Okay, so what our project did was basically design and build rainwater harvesting systems. We built 2 of them. We have one in Upper Marlboro, very close to here, and there's another one at Farmer Chippy's, Plantation Park Heights. He was absolutely wonderful to allow us to work with him, learn about his system, and then also implement our research project there. We also wanted to know that if we found microbial contaminants, was there a way to actually treat the water that was effective? So we chose 2 treatment options. We did a 0 valent iron, which is ZVI, and sand filter. So it's basically recycled iron shavings. So these recycled iron shavings, we mixed them with sand and we poured them into a pool filter that we bought commercially. And then that we would run the water through that. Our other option that we tested is we wanted a chemical to test. We know chlorine works great if you think about our drinking water, it's fluorinated. We wanted to test something that would hopefully not have the byproducts. So has anybody heard of how chlorine can interact with organic matter in water? Does that sound familiar? Okay, for whoever doesn't sound familiar to, if you have lots of organic matter in your water and you're dosing it with chlorine, you can form disinfection byproducts that can be really harmful. So they can be carcinogenic. So we wanted something that would hopefully not have any byproducts and could break down into things that we are not going to be worried about actually getting on our food. So we chose peracetic acid or peroxyacetic acid. This is often the one that we use. The most common one was the Sanidate 12.0. That's commercially available. And it was just approved by the EPA for use for irrigation water to treat specifically for human pathogens. So those were our two treatments. And then we're really going to get into investigating the presence of foodborne pathogens. And we actually did a large scale irrigation project. So we're going to test for pathogens not only in the water, but also on the produce that we grow to see if it actually makes it through that pathway. Okay, stop. Any questions yet? You want to stop me?
I got one question online.
Yes.
She asked, can you address microplastics in harvested rainwater and how can they be avoided or eliminated?
Ooh, okay. That is a great question. I do not have an answer to that, but that could be a whole research project. It would be very interesting because we know that microplastics are becoming basically like ubiquitous in our environment. Very good question. Okay, so what did our project actually look like in practice? We had a barn with an asphalt roof. We were going to collect the rainwater off of that asphalt roof into a gutter. Then the downspout from that gutter was directed into an IBC tote. On the way to the IBC tote, we diverted a portion of that water using what's called a first flush diverter. Has anybody heard of this before? Ooh, a few. Okay. The idea of a first flush diverter is that first portion of water off of the roof is typically the dirtiest. So if you think of maybe say cleaning your car, the first water to come off looks really gross. It's full of that gunk that we're talking about. So if we can take that out of the system, the goal is to reduce contamination. So everything that would collect in our IBC tote would hopefully be cleaner. This has been studied a bunch of times. There's lots of published literature on that. We felt confident that that would be a good tool to implement here. So we brought that in. So we have collection surface, our gutter, first flush diverter, then our IBC tote. We just needed something to hold that water. Then we took that water, a portion of it, we treated with that peroxyacetic acid, that PAA, so that's that chemical. And then another portion of it we treated with our ZBI sand filter. So that's that recycled iron and sand. And then we took all these different water types and we used them to actually irrigate our brassica salad mix that we were growing on the farm. So in actuality, here is our barn. You can see that this gutter here, the downspouts connected directly to our IBC tote. We have two totes in this picture because for our experiment, we really quickly ran out of water. So we needed two actually. Because if you see the size of the structure, you can collect a lot of rain. So we wanted to capture, I think each of these are over 300 gallons. So we wanted a lot of water so we would not run out during our experiment. And then this is the first flush diverter here. If you can tell, we are not by our field. So we actually had our farm partners move it with a forklift. They had to pick up the water and move it to our field. I will talk about another farm where we built it so that it could stay in place because water is very, very heavy. Okay, so what did our treatment options actually look like? For you all, for a farm that's working, we would probably pick one and then make it work for you. When we had to make it all sciencey, it looked like this and it got really complicated because we had to keep everything in its own place. So what we had is, this is our ZBI sand filter that ended up having to be stored in another barrel before it could be used so that we could irrigate at the same time. Then we have another barrel that we added in the peroxyacetic acid. And then you kind of do a pool filter test, a color change, titration. So you can test to know how much PAA you have in your barrel by basically adding a little bit and then waiting for a color change to happen, and it will tell you like on a little slip of paper, like, okay, you're below or above the concentration that you need for it to be effective. So that's what this looks like. In actuality, what you could do is go from your IBC tote, pump it through the filter, and then right onto your crops. Or instead of doing this whole extra bit here, you could be adding your peroxyacetic acid directly to your storage tote, which would make it a lot more simple. So this was a very complex system. In practice, it could be much simpler. And then you can see our beautiful brassica salad mix here. These are all the plots that we irrigated. So you can see we have lines running down our rows, and our wonderful farm partners here installed micro sprinklers. So they stand about this tall. And so they're basically there are flags here. Each plot has a different water type. We were going to irrigate with municipal water, your tap water. So that was our control. We wanted to make sure that, say we had methods that were going to pick up something, we wanted to make sure that our water that we knew was clean was coming back clean. So that made sure that our lab work was good to go. But then the other one, we had our untreated harvested rainwater, we had our ZBI sand filtered rainwater, as well as our peracetic acid. So what this project wanted to look at was, as I've mentioned before, not only the water itself, but also the produce. And we're really interested in the things that could make us sick. So we're going to be looking for the pathogens that I mentioned, and also some fecal indicator bacteria. So for our pathogens here, we are looking for Salmonella and Listeria monocytogenes. And so we picked these two pathogens because they're among the top 5 pathogens linked to foodborne illnesses resulting in death in the US. Did anybody hear about the recent, I believe it was, there was one with like hamburger meat outbreak, or I think there was maybe one with carrots recently. These are things that pop up in the news because it can make people really, really sick. So we wanted something that we knew was linked to irrigation water, we knew could be coming from produce that could really make us sick, so that we could kind of get at that idea of how risky is this water. And so we do know that irrigation water has been implicated in produce contamination and outbreaks of both Salmonella as well as Listeria monocytogenes. Okay, before I get into our results, does anybody have any questions as to where we're going? So we have our setup, we collected a bunch of water, we treated that water, we irrigated brassica, now we're testing. Yeah.
Question on the size of your first flush diverter, that's a little bigger than, smaller ones I've seen.
Yeah.
How big do you need to go?
So I believe there are calculations that you can do, and I think it is based on your root size. But for our experiment, our barrel, once it was filled, I was testing that water, but if I was doing it in practice, I would dump that water after every storm, so that basically when it filled up, I would get rid of it almost immediately. But I believe there are calculations you can do, and I can look at
Like, that was like 5 gallons or something there.
This was a
Too big.
oof. Good question.
Yeah, it kind of looked like
Yeah,
size.
Yeah, I have more pictures at the end, and if I had my fact sheet, I would give it to you and have the answer right for you.
Where do you dump the water to?
Okay, so great question. If you don't want to just lose that water, you could use it for ornamentals, the things that you're not going to consume. That water is still good to use. You just don't want it going on things that you're going to eat. So you don't want to actually apply it to your produce.
Got 2 questions on one.
Yeah.
One is the bird waste E. coli the biggest contaminant concern?
Okay, so really good question. We have E. coli being mentioned as our contaminant from bird poop. So yeah, we're looking for fecal indicator bacteria, which are bacteria that live in the guts of animals. And so there are E. coli as well as some enterococci. And so those basically indicate that feces could have gotten into the water, which means that there could be pathogens present, because the pathogens here, these can also live in the gut of organisms. So we are looking for those fecal indicator organisms, the E. coli, but then also trying to get at things that can make us sick, like Listeria and Salmonella, because not all E. coli can make us sick.
And then, you.
I do have one question.
Go ahead.
If you, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, ask a question. Go ahead.
How often, you mentioned that you could add the PA directly to the rain barrel. How often would you have to test that water? So say I added it today and then I used it today, but then tomorrow, would I have to test it again? Or would I have to wait till the next storm? Like what, I guess, what is the labor involved in testing water?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are working on a project right now about storage time. So like, say, do you have to like keep applying it? I do know that you need to test it when you add it so that you get it to the right concentration so that everything is killed in the water. So that's like, you're dosing it and then you're testing it right away. And we were aiming for about 8 ppm, so parts per million. And so once we got to that concentration, then we would use it we did our experiment for 4 weeks. Brassica grows really fast, which was great. So, and I'll talk about the results, but after even using it for 4 weeks, we weren't detecting any of our fecal indicators or pathogens. Yeah.
Yeah, just for the first flush I've heard.
Yeah.
I guess 2 questions. One, is there like a backflow preventer or something in there that's preventing the water from going into the rain barrel? And then you were just saying that, you dump the water as soon as the storm's over. I'm just trying to like picture this in real life.
Yeah, so a first flush diverter can totally be like what you just said, have a float valve.
Yeah,
You can build it yourself, PVC. There are totally doable options for that. We used a commercial option. And so
Got it.
basically, once the tank filled up, all other water would go into our other tank.
Got you. Okay.
So, and I'll show a few results. It worked pretty well. It didn't stop everything. So I think a float valve system would probably work really, really well.
Okay.
And then what was your second question?
No, just you were describing, after it rains, immediately you dump the
Yeah.
water. But now I understand like you can do it because you have like a commercial system that's already redirecting the water that not enough in the
Yeah, and
first
so
flush to the rain barrel.
our barrel had like a little spigot on the bottom. So we just open our spigot, drain it, and then close it when we wanted to capture the next storm, basically. So like when the rain hits, reflecting it off the surface, we want to divert that first portion. So once that like first portion is off, we want to discard that and then everything else we're collecting. And so we just want to dump it and make sure that there's room to collect the first flush again before the next storm hits.
Got it. Okay, so it's not like you had to wait for another storm to happen to do the second part. Okay.
Yeah. So it could just sit there because we weren't gonna use it. But we wanted to make sure there was enough room to collect another flush, like before another storm hit. Yeah, really good questions. Any more before I go on?
One more. One person asked, is the filtered harvested rainwater safe to drink? How can they use the microscopy to analyze what's in the rainwater, and should they be concerned about the pH of the harvested?
Okay. Great questions. The filtered water, we were filtering it and comparing it to irrigation water standards. So we're not talking about drinking water. For drinking water, the regulations are super tight. You don't want any coliforms, which are basically there can be no E. coli or which is really good because you don't want to be drinking that. And so I'll show some of our results from the ZVI sand filter. Definitely not safe for consumption.
I'm sorry.
I can keep going, but do you wanna?
Okay. So my question was, your study considered things that we typically eat raw.
Yes.
Did you consider, like, I feel like the food safety standards also consider things that typically cook. Did you guys consider those kinds of crops as well?
So our project specifically chose brassica because we wanted to choose something that would be the most risky to grow using this water.
Sure.
And so you're exactly right. If you're cooking your produce, if you are letting a die-off period happen between your irrigation and your harvest, there are ways that you can reduce your risk even if you're using this water. So things that aren't coming in direct contact with the water would be much safer to use. So there are other ways to make this more safe, but we're looking at the riskiest option. Worst case scenario. Yep, exactly. Yes.
Would it matter? I mean, it does matter, but it would matter whether you're doing drip irrigation versus like overhead, because then the water droplets are actually sitting on the produce versus underneath, right?
Yes. So you guys are experts at have you read the FSMA? Okay, yeah,
Many of us have done, yeah.
there you go. So GAP and FSMA, you are basically like reading me the rules of this thing. Basically, if you can reduce the contact time, like using drip instead of spray, if you're taking that water and applying it right to the soil surface and not onto spraying it onto the crop, you're also gonna reduce your risk. And so for this farm, we had spray irrigators, which you can see, they're like the little tiny micro one. At our other farm, we had drip irrigation. And so we are also working on a publication that we're gonna go through all of these scenarios because it gets so confusing. And so with GAP, if you are GAP certified, so good agricultural practices, if you want that certificate for your farm, you have to hit all these rules. And we wanna make sure that we can have a recommendation for you all with all these different scenarios for using harvested rainwater. So say like harvested rainwater, but then you're using drip irrigation and you're treating it. And we're hopefully gonna wrap that all up and have a recommendation for you all in terms of, is it safe to use? Okay. Ready to move on? Okay. Really great questions, guys. So, okay, we are looking at microbes in this talk. I can also answer some questions about physical chemical because we talked a little bit about like what's actually landing on the roof, heavy metals, all of that. But we are looking for those fecal indicator bacteria like E. coli and then the pathogens that could make us sick. And this was a lot of lab work. So we would go to the field, we'd collect our water or our produce samples, we would take it back to our lab and then do a bunch of testing to actually grow what we're interested in looking for. So we use culture methods. We were able to grow E. coli. We were able to actually grow Listeria, and then we are reporting our results here. I am happy to say that our municipal water did not have any pathogens in it. That is exactly what we expected because it is municipal water. It is chlorinated. We did not expect to find anything, but it made us confident that our methods were good to go, that I wasn't contaminating anything when I was working in the lab. So Listeria monocytogenes, that pathogen that we were talking about, looks like these little tiny teal colored dots, which looks really great, but it also meant that we found it. So we found Listeria monocytogenes in our first flush samples. We had 3 out of our 12 samples positive at this farm. Our untreated harvested rainwater, so that's the giant IBC toad that we sampled, we had it in 2 out of 13 samples. And then our filtered, so our ZVI sand filtered, we had it in 1 of our samples. So it was able to get through that filter basically. And we were able to capture it and then grow it. However, we did not find Listeria monocytogenes in the sanitized rainwater samples, which is great. So that
The PAA, that's the PAA
Yeah.
treatment, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
What's
This is
the
our
filtered rainwater then? Sorry.
Say over.
You said, so the untreated harvested rainwater samples is the IBC toads, and then
Yes,
what's the filtered rainwater?
that's the ZVI sand filter. So we took our untreated rainwater and we moved it through that filter that had those recycled iron shavings and
Okay.
sand.
So
And then
that's,
it was,
okay, so that's your ZBI versus the PAA. Okay.
yeah,
So you
exactly. So the PAA worked wonderfully. The ZVI, we did have a positive.
And your PAA, you said was chemical?
Yes.
Question about the, do you think that it would be possible to, have you ever seen the like nutrient dosing machines for like hydroponics and stuff like that?
No, but I'm curious.
Like, I'm wondering if you could just add the right amount of PAA, like as you're irrigating, like almost like you would just add nutrients to the water as it's going through it versus like having to retreat and then, you know, test and all the time.
Yeah, I think that could be a really great option. I don't know how that would work, but I think that it could be super helpful because we're also treating before it goes through an irrigation system, so we're relying on some amount of maintenance for the irrigation system. But definitely something to look into. So for our other pathogen, for Salmonella, we did not find it. We were not able to detect it. Salmonella can be a little difficult to grow in the lab, but all of our samples were negative, which is good. So then when we actually looked at the produce itself, we did not find any of our target bacteria. So we didn't find any pathogens. We didn't find E. coli, which is a great thing for basically the risk. So this is what we're actually eating. If I went home and ate this, I would not have, like, I did not find any of the listeria on it, which is really great.
Question, so
Yes.
you irrigated just by using the drip lines?
So this was the micro sprayer. Yes.
It was sprayer?
Yes.
So there was spray on top of the?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to put.
Yep. So this was, again, like the riskiest case scenario. We had a spray, we had a commonly eaten raw produce option here, and so we did not find it. However, we just had that great discussion about the good agricultural practices. We talked about irrigation water standards. If we're hitting those standards, we're recommending that you're treating that harvested rainwater because we had those listeria pop up. We do not want that getting on our produce. And then I did not go into it here to consider how much time we have, but we did find E. coli. The highest levels was in our first flush. The second highest was in our untreated, and then the ZVI sand filtered. And so our PAA was consistently non-detect for those fecal indicators, making it look essentially the same as our municipal water. So again, because we are finding in that untreated harvested rainwater, the listeria, and then the high levels of E. coli, we're saying treatment is your best bet. Yes.
Why did you choose ZVI to test? Are there other filters that would be potentially more effective?
So we chose the ZVI sand filter because sand filtration is a really old technology. It's very common. We partnered with a team that had been investigating the ZVI component of it to help remove more or to improve the ability to remove bacteria from water. And so a lot of work is still being done on that to see how effective it was. And so our results are similar to other studies where it, yes, reduced the concentration of E. coli we found. It was a lower concentration than that untreated, but we did find E. coli and we did find listeria. So we're really recommending that your paracetic acid sanitizer is probably your best bet. Yes.
Apologies if I missed it, but what was the concentration of the PAA?
We were shooting for about 8 ppm, so 8 parts per million. Yeah.
Based on that name, I'm assuming it's a peroxide and acetic acid is basically peroxide and vinegar.
Yeah.
Combination.
Hydrogen peroxide
If I was
and
over here, like, I don't wanna go buy a bottle of stuff and put on my food. But I mean,
I
it
was-
seems fairly benign in terms of chemicals, right?
it's paracetic acid and hydrogen peroxide. And so what it breaks down into is basically like what you have vinegar and then water.
Yeah.
Okay.
So could be in theory organic.
Yes, you can use it for organic farming, yeah.
Okay.
The major concern with it is you have to be careful when you're using it. So just wear PPE, wear gloves, don't get it in your eyes, that kind of thing. It's all on the label. You can buy it commercially. And then the only other thing is you have to look at storage conditions. But
Yeah.
if you've already used things like chlorine, you're most likely already doing that. So it would just be similar, just try to be as safe as you can with chemicals.
I've done a quick research, that's like, most of it is in 15% solution, and then you're basically measuring to get 8 ppm, right?
So our final target concentration in the large tote would be 8 ppm.
But from what you purchased out of the bottle for the PAA, is that 15% solution?
I do not know. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with the commercial side of it.
Gotcha.
Yes, you,
I have two questions.
Yeah.
So was there, I guess, a certain amount of time that you waited after you treated the water before you watered the plants?
Mhm.
And then was there a wait time between the time that you watered the plants and the time you tested the plants for the pathogens?
yeah, great question. So you're asking,
So I had the PAA.
yes,
Am I waiting a certain period of time before I test to get my ppm? Like to allow it to mix or incorporate or something like that?
okay, really good question. You are adding it, mixing it, and that's like a 5-minute process, I believe, and then testing it. So you wanna get it to that concentration where it's gonna kill everything, and then we're using it, and we were using it right away, but then for most of the experiments, we were holding that water for the 4 weeks that we used it. And we did not find that things were rebounding, but we are looking into this more. So we're gonna be running tests on, can you store it long term? Like, could you store it over winter after treating it and then be confident that it could be good to go in the spring?
Right.
So we're getting to hopefully answer that storage question. But yeah, we're using it pretty much after we're treating it, and then we were using it for 4 weeks.
Okay. And then the second question was, after we spray our
Yeah.
plants, after we water our plants.
Yes.
Were you sampling right away or was there a waiting period for you sample?
Yeah, we were waiting, so it was anywhere between a few days to a week of waiting. So there could have been die-off that happened. So by leaving the produce alone, not adding more water to it, it's a way to reduce risk. You're basically allowing time, allowing things to die, allowing the sun to hit it, and hopefully not harvesting right away, so you're not collecting exactly what is in that water. Yeah. How am I on time? I don't wanna.
It's almost 6. Yeah, I was gonna say about 6:20 and then we'll hear from Julie. You can go up to 6:20. You don't have to
Okay.
go with that, but yeah, probably not past that.
Okay, I don't wanna go too far. Oh, no.
I can click it for you. I don't know.
That would be great.
This is crazy.
There's 2 more questions online.
Okay, I can answer this.
Can adding beneficial bacteria to the rainwater help remove pathogens? And it refers to the other slide with the study, what is the die-off time frame?
Okay, 2 great questions I do not know the answer to, but would make extremely good research questions. So adding things to your water to possibly kill off whatever is in there. The only thing I have ever found that people are adding to rainwater is like mosquito dunks. You don't want mosquitoes in your water. I have not heard of. Right. I have not heard of basically like a bio treatment for water like that. That could be really interesting. And then in terms of die-off, that wasn't our main question for this project. We were really interested in comparing like the untreated to the BA treated to the ZDI treated. So we didn't exactly look at how that die-off was happening, but I'm pretty sure other studies have been done on it. If it hasn't been done specifically on rainwater, it would be really interesting to do that.
What was the full duration of the study, like time frame?
Oh, we ran 3 4-week experiments in Upper Marlboro, and we ran 3 4-week experiments in Baltimore. So we cut a lot of samples over a lot of times.
Were they over the same time of year or was it spaced
Oh
out?
my gosh, you guys are like killing my question. We made sure that we had 2 in the fall. No, sorry, 2 in the spring and 1 in the fall for each group of experiments. So like when we went to Baltimore City, we had 2 in the spring, 1 in the fall, and the same at Upper Marlboro, because we were interested in what the air temperature could do So if it got really, really cold, was it gonna affect the community in that water? Or if it got really, really hot?
Yeah.
Like at the end of our experiments, we were ending in June, the high tunnels were really warm. So we were like, okay, is our water heating up? Is that gonna have things grow that may not have grown if it was cooler out? So we wanted to have two, like at least 2 seasons covered. It would be interesting to do like a longitudinal study, like do it for like a bunch of seasons in a row. That would be great. But yeah, we tried to tackle that as much as we could.
I'm kind of excited that you guys did it under high summer, but it seems to me like that would be more of a like a worst case scenario. It's easier to grow stuff that
Yeah,
way.
I have photos for you, all of that.
Gross.
Oh, no, not photos of our high tunnel setup, because we were really excited about installing gutters on our high tunnel. So just really quickly, we already talked about this, but if you want to get started, you're looking at a collection surface, gutters, a downspout, and a collection tank at your minimum. You can add in things like gutter guards. So if you have gutters and you want to protect the top of it so leaves don't get in, that could be a really great way to reduce contamination. This first flush diverter system that we talked about. And then I heard you mentioned electrical issues or needs. One of our studies, actually both of our studies, we ended up needing electricity so that we could use a pump. One, we had a sump pump actually in our tank. And then we were pumping it up a high tunnel and elevating the water so that we could use gravity to irrigate with. Then another experiment, we had the pump that was basically running our sprinklers. No, don't stop. Okay. Oh, no, it's going crazy. It's all or nothing with this, apparently.
Oh, that's okay.
Did you want to go back or forward? Okay. Does this look familiar to anybody?
Is this chippy stuff?
Yes. We had the absolute wonderful opportunity to work in Baltimore with Farmer Chippy. This is his farm. He was already collecting rainwater, so really we were building on that brilliant system that he had where we installed these rain gutters. So we actually, well, I had the opportunity to stretch speed plastic on the high tunnel. That was an amazing day. One that I will not forget, and I realized how hot a high tunnel could get during that summer day. So we have our gutter guard, our downspout here. This was connected to the side of the IBC tote, but ideally it would be connected directly to the top. So you can use this entire thing to collect your water. The water could go up to about here in this tote because the downspout was connected to the side. This is our first flush diverter. You can see here's the spigot that we would turn to empty the water. And you can see it's just like diverted off the side. Then we have all of our IBC totes were clear, so we covered them because we didn't want algae to grow.
Can you talk about how you actually attach the gutters?
Oh, on the.
Yeah.
Okay. The hip board, like this, basically like this one had straight sides. So where like the straight edge met this curve, you basically have a place to put in the brackets for the gutter.
So the metal part where you put the, what do you call it, that
Over
like
the wire?
clip,
Yeah.
So you just drilled it into that metal.
Yes.
And it's obviously over the plastic, so the plastic goes all the way down and you're basically drilling right into the plastic too, right?
Yes.
So the sides would still lift up, but if you had to take the plastic off, you'd have to take the gutters off too, right?
Yeah, you would have to take the gutters off, yeah.
Make sure I understood.
So this was like fresh plastic that we had just stretched over it, then we installed the gutters, and we actually had a gutter company come out and they did it. So they were not daunted by the fact that they were drilling into basically like these structures here. They were fine with that and it worked really well. And then they attached our downspout. The goal would be to also attach one over here on this side and also collect from like the entire surface, not just half of it, but we were just using this for our experiments.
I'm sorry, you said what kind of company came out to install the gutters?
We had a local gutter company come out.
Oh, gutter company. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Totally do it on your own. So here is our treatment system. Again, this is overly complicated because we had to have everything set up and running at the same time. Our awesome farm partners built this structure so we can elevate the water and then irrigate with gravity. And just like I was saying the first time, this could be simplified, so it could be done to fit what you all need instead of having everything set, so you could do just filtration or just the PAA, and the PAA could be added into the IBC tote. And then here are our lovely beds that we were growing our brassica mix, and then we were using drip tape in this study. So even though we changed a whole bunch of things, we were collecting off of plastic, we were using drip tape, our results were really similar. So we found very, very similar patterns of the first flush being the most contaminated, followed by the untreated harvested rainwater, and then the ZBI filter with like more contamination than we were hoping, because the PAA had almost nothing in it. We were finding levels that were comparable to the municipal, so it was really effective. Oh my gosh, are those 21 new questions? Not all of them are. No stress. So a few important things to consider. We talked a little bit about sunlight. We had our clear tanks. If you are doing this, I would recommend you can buy ones that have like a steel sided part to them. You can also paint them or get a tarp really cheap off the internet. Anything to keep algae from growing. We are also relying on some system maintenance. So we're testing the water in those barrels. So either the IBC tote or the blue barrels that we had. And so the downstream is up to the farmer. So we rolled out new drip tape when we started. And so we didn't have it from set over the winter. We rolled out new drip tape.
Yeah, so the PAA doesn't kill algae, it just kills the other bacteria.
Oh, that's a really good question. I do not know about it killing algae. I do know that algae can clog filter systems. Like, so if you're just filtering before you're pumping that water so that like your sprinkler doesn't clog, your drip tape doesn't clog, we want to make sure that we're not adding any more burdens to the maintenance of the system.
Plus their PAA wasn't in their tote, they had it in a separate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just curious if it did kill algae, because then you could kill two birds with one stone.
I like that.
Are there any types of storage vessels that are not compatible with the PAA, like a metal or pleated?
That's a really good question.
Or would it like make the plastic, the thin plastic decompose quicker? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And it was just approved as in like the summer of 2024. So I'm sure things like that will.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah, but really good question.
Is the ZVI sand filter like a one-time purchase, set it and forget it, or is that something that's going to need to be replaced? Or
The goal would be exactly what you're saying, is you buy the parts, you put it together, it's there, you're good, you use it for as long as water runs through it, kind of thing. One, because it's incredibly heavy, so wherever you build it, that is where it will live.
Yeah.
But also because we want an option that you're not having to buy things every single season. But it didn't work as effectively as we were hoping it would.
so would there be a benefit to like both CDI and PAA? Like
So
minimizing the amount of PAA you're putting in? Or would you still need to hit that same 8 parts per million?
you would probably still have to hit that, yeah. Yeah, so I would say doing 2 would probably be, yeah.
Do the filter need electricity one?
No. Well, we had to pump it through, so yes.
I'm also on the board of community garden, it's set up a big rain catchment system with multiple barrels. I'm thinking there's zero filtration there. So I wonder how safe that is for people, but and obviously we can't all volunteer, no one can go out and be checking this multi-barrel system that they want to make like at least 4 more.
The goal would be that you could add your PAA and hit that 8 ppm And then it would kill everything in there and like you hopefully wouldn't have a rebound, so you wouldn't have
Yeah.
things that are growing and then.
Maybe if someone was able to do, but I mean,
So-
they're being and filling. But if the filter was able to be used,
Yeah,
that would be a much better.
yeah, so unfortunately, the filter didn't work as well as we wanted. And you would need, it is better than none, yeah, it was a lower concentration than our untreated. You need electricity to be able to pump it through the filter. And you want enough contact time, like you want it to actually like the water to hit the sand and hit that iron, so it has time to like grab onto it and do the chemistry that basically kills the cells. So it's a little bit complicated, but yes, we were hoping to find a solution that was scalable and used for long term.
I have a question too. So with the sand and iron, is there like some type of like capacity that they have to get rid of the bacteria? Right, cause I guess you're not really changing the filter if we're trying to have this thing.
So we ran it like you would run a pool filter. So at the end of the season, we would back flush it. So we would run our municipal water through the filter and basically like clear out everything that was in it.
Got
And
it.
then let it sit dry. Now I'm saying this, I think we might have said it right, but I think we wanted water in it because the iron was oxidized and so it was like getting rusty and everything in there. So there's a little bit of maintenance, but yeah, we were trying to flush it so that everything wouldn't sit in there.
Right,
And
got
then
it,
when we used it again, it should be good to go.
got it. So like every season you wanna flush it and reuse it. but-
Yeah, so definitely it's still in the works. We're still figuring out lots of parts of it.
This is kind of speculative, but would longer contact with the iron and the sand and the filter have impacted your results, do you think?
It could have, so it could have been that we were running the water through the filter too quickly. So not allowing enough contact time. So yeah, that is definitely like one of our limitations is that there were so many variables and like practicality wise, we were running it at like the pressure that we had at the farm and all of those different elements. But yeah, so contact time definitely can play a role. Okay. Oh, that's the end of my talk. We had a survey going that was basically collecting information about what you all care about so that we can make sure that we're tackling those types of ideas. And then this is our awesome team. So if anybody's online, thank you for helping make this actually possible. And then I have our acknowledgement statements here. And I'm happy to take more questions. Your all's questions have been amazing. I just defended it in front of a whole committee, and I will say these ones have been maybe more challenging than theirs. So hats off to you.
I have a question.
Yes.
So what's the process from here to getting to the point where we can go to our GAP certifications and say, well, it's been tested, blah, 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 like, what does that process look like?
So with GAP, there's still a testing requirement for your irrigation water. If you go like really, really big, like the FDA's rules, they're getting rid of testing. And they're doing a risk assessment. So instead of saying, okay, you have to test 5 times a year and do all this work, mail in your samples, they're doing a risk assessment. And they're saying if you can identify things that would make your water risky to use, like if you have cattle walking through the stream that you use to irrigate, or you have a farm next door that's applying soil amendments that could run into your pond that you're using to irrigate, all those things would flag, okay, this is risky, don't use that water, or treat it. So we're building out a framework to apply those kind of questions to harvested rainwater. The easiest answer is if you're treating your water, you're pretty much good to go.
But then with GAP, wouldn't the testing have to be like an independent lab testing versus like strip testing of your ppms and stuff like that? Or are you saying that there's a pathway to that, like strip testing and still GAP compliance?
I don't know if GAP is changing. Right now, you do have to do the independent testing, send away your samples. But if you were to treat your water, hopefully those levels would be really, really low. And it would not be a burden to basically get GAP certified because it would be so low.
I guess where it concerns me is like, let's say you have 10 IBC totes and you're irrigating to the point that you run through those however often.
Yeah.
Like, every time it fills up with new rain, are you gonna have to independently test again? You know?
I think that's part of the reason that like the Food Safety Modernization Act has moved towards this risk assessment is because your irrigation water is so dynamic. It's the weather, it's the rain, it's like there's so many elements that it's hard to. You're testing, it's a grab sample. It's on that day at that time in that location. Like the center of your pond could look different than the edge of the pond kind of thing. And so testing has its limitations. So I see like you're saying that water is gonna be gone before you get those results back. Right now it's required. I would say. Like, we know that the untreated harvested rainwater has higher levels. We know that the PAA worked really well. I think it would have to be your farm deciding like which route you want to go. But yeah, it's very complicated. We're trying to come up with a way to make it less confusing on deciding that your water is safe to use. Yes.
I was just gonna share that, I'm part of the, like, I get like the updates from, I guess it's Cornell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did, an update, a FISMA update on the water rule earlier this year, so I don't know if it's already taken effect or not, but they were emphasizing that risk assessment, and if I still have materials.
So maybe it sounds like it's worth going up to FISMA versus GAP if GAP hasn't caught up there yet.
Yeah.
It turned over, like, I think this was also the summer of 2024 was like real busy. I think that rule was changed and it was a lot of stakeholder engagement saying, this is so burdensome to have to do all this testing. And so the response was, okay, we'll do a risk assessment instead of that testing. And so there is a shift and I'm not sure if GAP is just slightly behind on that, if it will also change, but yeah, Cornell's a wonderful resource. The Produce Safety Alliance has a bunch of stuff, but basically like the standards from GAP were the same as the standards from FISMA. But FISMA says we're not using that anymore. Yes.
I think, Rob, we have a couple of chat folks. Rob, you want to just come off mute and ask your question?
Yeah, thank you. Hey, first off, wonderful presentation. Thank you, Dr. Woerner. You survived the gauntlet. You've got some, as you said, educated crew here. So well done. First off, so my question is really on that first flush diverter. That just sounds like such an important component because it's really getting rid of any kind of pathogens right off the bat there. So is that size to a storm event? Are you getting rid of like the first 1/4 inch flush event? I know that with stormwater management, they say treating the first 1/2 inch is really the critical component from, say, parking lots. But how does that work from, rooftop of greenhouses? How do you determine that first flush diverter? When do you turn that off?
I believe if someone has worked on figuring out the calculations similar to what you're saying, like that first 1/2 inch, and it would be based on your surface area of your collection surface. So like how big your high tunnel is. I do not know those measurements. We basically had a set volume. Once that volume was hit, the rest of the water would flow through.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Ooh, we're almost out of time. Any other questions?
Question about the testing for the PBM, like what, would I be able to find that online, if I just Google how to test PBM?
I've seen pH.
Or for the,
Yeah,
we just pH stress.
well, it's like they have little test kits. It's more similar to, this is the one we use was like, if you see lifeguards at the pool and they're always like shaking stuff.
Okay, so it's that standard testing
Like,
kit for that, it's not something specific to this particular.
I believe it is specific to paracetic acid, yeah. And, but it's commercially available, yeah. You guys have been absolutely wonderful. Thank you for the thoughtful questions. If you have any more questions, hopefully we will have resources available for the extension publication. It goes over everything that we put into building that system that we showed on the high tunnel with like where we got it, the price of it, that kind of breakdown, as well as some safety tips. And so hopefully we can share that with you soon, and
We just have a link for a kit, so I can just order it and.
They even have
Yeah, like this is they did.
they do have kids.
Have all that, I just looked it up.
Plug and play, yeah.
Yeah, but I have business cards if you'd like to contact me or our lab. Dr. Goldstein is my advisor. She's continuing on this work.
Sorry, one more question. So in the experiment, you did just the roof, the like asphalt roofs. Did you experiment with any other roof surface?
So we did do the high tunnel flagship. So we had the asphalt roof and then we also had a high tunnel plastic, yeah. And the results were fairly similar. We didn't compare them like side by side because they were so different. So we had one site that had no trees anywhere near. The other site had trees overhanging. And so they were so completely different that we kind of looked at them independently. But the overall trends were very similar.
Okay.
And that's really like the roof and the gutter. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emmie. I really appreciate it. Sorry about this thing. I don't know what happened, but anyway, we appreciate you sharing with us tonight and being patient with technology. So hopefully you'll come back. Hopefully there'll be part 2s and 3s of this study, and I would love that. We can invite you back.
That's wonderful. Oh, this is our website. We're gonna be updating it with our resources.
Is that on the handout?
It should be.
Okay.
And I'll
Yeah,
send
it is.
around the
Okay, it
handout
is.
and the presentation one day this week with the recording, so you can share that. And I can share our extension publication as soon as it's live. Excellent. We're very, very close. All right, awesome. We'll push that out to the other group. So thank you, Dr. Emmie. Just one thing really quickly before Julie speaks, we'll just mention Jason will be following up with folks who said that they're not cooperators and they want to become cooperators with the district and work on soil conservation and water quality planning. And he'll also, he or I will get you on the Google group if you requested to be on it but are not on it yet. Most of you are probably here because you are on the Google group. So I may push this out like 8 million times, but anyway, thank you very much. All right, so with that, we're gonna hear from Julie Wolf from the Department of Environment.
Hi, everybody. I'm gonna try and keep this quick. So, 3 things. I'm with the Department of Environment. We work with the Chesapeake Bay Trust to do the rain check rebate. And so what I've heard on that is that it's funded for 2026 at a lower rate than it has been in the past. And it probably won't be funded in future years, given the state of finances everywhere. So I have a couple of handouts here with the website and some information if anybody needs it. Otherwise, if you just type in Prince George's County rain check rebate, it'll come up. But yes, that will pay for homeowners or small businesses to get rain barrels, cisterns, permeable pavement, trees, a couple other practices that might help you. So this would be worth looking into. And does anybody want a handout? I'll pass. Okay. And pass them around, and if we run out, just Google Prince George's County rain check rebate. Question or handout?
Do you know how we can take advantage of those if we're leasing land?
That, I do not know, because yeah, I haven't dealt with that yet.
But you said businesses can take advantage of it.
Yep, there's a little bit on this page, okay, but in terms of leased farmland, like getting into territory that I haven't dealt with yet.
I hadn't considered this, and I'm glad you said it, but if we're operating an urban farm just on our property, are we considered commercial or residential?
Yeah, I wondered about.
I didn't think about that. I'm like, that's a whole different barrel of
I'm
money.
not sure which,
For
but I think
projects.
businesses can participate. So it looks like I didn't
Cause I know
get a handout,
cisterns
but
and thing.
these.
It's a big difference. In
Yeah,
how
it's
much you can get.
huge. And I didn't even think about that one.
If you're making a lot of thousand, it's commercial.
Okay, yeah. Well, so definitely, since I'm out of handouts on that one, just Google.
Yeah.
This county rain check rebate. Okay, second thing. Okay, so I have a stack of business cards here, and that's the best way to get a hold of me, but I also have 10 copies of our new application. I want to start by saying, don't anybody panic. This is not going fast. We had the Partnerships for Climate Smart Commodities grant, which was canceled in January. We have since reapplied with USDA and been approved to continue with the same amount of incentives for farmers, now called Advancing Markets for Producers. And so there's some changes in that we're not paying farmers to do practices anymore. Specifically, we're paying you to stabilize or increase your production, your agricultural production, while working with our partners, which is NRCS, SCG, University of Maryland Extension, Bowie State, and a couple others, to do your best practices, whatever you decide on. So what we're gonna be focusing on is getting marketing together, and we have a couple initiatives that are kind of starting, where we hope to contract grow native tree seedlings with farmers. I'd be starting them for maybe the first year, native trees, shrubs, and perennials, and then we'd be shipping small or large quantities of those out to some of you with extra space to take care of them until they're ready to go in the landscape. So that's something we're still working out, but there's all kinds of other possibilities in the future. But in the meantime, the incentives that we have for this should be unchanged. It's based on your production area. There's a new application, it's simpler. But so what we're gonna do when we get the word from USDA that they're back on their feet after this shutdown, anybody, I think almost everybody in this room has already contacted me and done the first steps under the PCSC initiative. So I still have your materials. I still have a farm visit. If we've made a farm visit, it's probably old, so I want to come back out and touch base with you again. But you all will be fed into the new system first, so you don't need to panic. There's no panic. There's no closing date at this point. But then once we've met with everybody we've already worked with, we'll start working with new people as well. So again, I only have 10 copies of this, but you can, if you don't get one of these, and I'll start at the other side, you can take my business card. This is just the application and a document list. So another thing that the county has done while we've been waiting for the USDA to get back to us is we've worked out all of our legal and bookkeeping aspects. So it's just a lot of paperwork. It's not bad. It's designed to protect you, protect us, and make sure everybody gets what they need going forward. So does anybody want my business card? If you don't get one of those, I have scads of these. Question there? No, just business card. Okay. So thank you. And if we don't have time to talk, we can talk by Zoom. That would be great. Awesome.
Yeah.
So question,
Are you saying that they are required to be doing conservation work through like other programs or just like
No.
CTA type things?
They're
like, through
required-
us,
Oh,
And
I'm
we're
sorry.
verifying it that way?
They are required to have touch base with have a farm service agency number, have touch base at least with soil conservation district, and have, obviously meet their highly erodible and wetlands qualifications, but also just be doing the obvious thank you, best management practices that you and your consultants think of.
So they have a conservation.
Yes.
Okay.
And that can be a forestry plan, a nutrient management plan, or any other plan that.
Or conservation.
Yes, and we're not getting involved in that at all. And the reason for that is we don't want to get messed up in the CPA 52.
I don't blame you. I wish I could do that too.
Because that'll hold people up for like months and months.
Okay.
Questions? I have one left. Does anybody want it?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, Kathy.
Why is PG County gonna be part of the certificate holder for insurance?
That has to do with the finances of, so this federal money is coming to the county and then we're giving it to farmers. So that makes us somehow liable. So our due diligence means that we have contacted or had you contact your provider of insurance on our behalf. This is what our legal department has done for the last 10 months. The first person who got a COI said it was no big deal.
Yeah.
Like the insurance company was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I've gotten like 40 of them.
Every time you go to something. Any other questions? All right, I hope to talk to each and every one of you who is grower, or if you are planning to become a grower or resign, you want to encourage that. And
Did anybody else need a rain check rebate form? That's really fast.
I have a question online if there's still time.
Is there time?
Yes, go ahead, Rob.
Report.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, so I understand the federal funding kind of, process, but I mean, the county has its own stormwater permit, the MS4 permit needs for addressing rainwater runoff issues. I mean, would it be feasible for the county, or would you be willing to kind of elevate it to have this go towards your MS4 needed, EPA permit needs to stormwater? It'd be great to have for the county to have a long-term program like this for farmers that are willing to capture the runoff from hoop houses and other structures.
It would be great, and I will say, this grant was obtained before I even worked for the county, and it took literally years. So it will have to be, that'll have to happen, from your idea, it'll have to happen over time.
Well, isn't that what rain check rebate was?
Mm-hmm.
That's a rain check, yeah. That's how, rain check rebate is how they're capturing it for the MS4 side. But I believe the grant initially we were gonna capture it on the ag side, so that would be reported by Maryland Department of Agriculture through our conservation tracker.
Sounds like
The
they're
state
canceling our
funding
funding that does what Rob wanted.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Not interested in necessarily starting it up.
You know me, I'm trying to simplify it and make it a long-term program, but that's it. Okay.
Nice. All right, thanks, everybody. I hope to hear from you by email or any other way. Thanks.
Thanks, Julie. All right, any other questions from folks? Anyone online have any lingering thoughts or questions? All right, so anyone have any announcements? I know folks gave some at the beginning. If not, you are free to go. Okay, it's free to go. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody.
Thanks, Kim.
Kim?